course. This is lesson number 47. I believe it's 47. All right. So I have about 50 minutes. Okay. So we need to. Man. All right. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. I ordered the tea and the honey, and they don't give me anything to stir it with. These people can really work your nerves sometimes. Really work your nerves. But I don't know why they have all young men in their 20s working here. I don't understand that. But anyway, let me not complain. It is what it is. I got to make do with it. Because I don't... They're not going to come out. They usually won't even come out. I'm on a patio in a hotel that has been converted into a coffee shop. Okay, so let's begin where we left off. This is so frustrating. I'm actually tired of it. Sometimes, y'all, it's very difficult for me to come and do these videos. It's frustrating. Because it's a struggle with everything from the venue to, but anyway, I've been at it for a long time and I'm not going to stop. Anyway, so let's get into it. We are on page okay, we're on page 115, y'all. That's where we left off, 115. So let's pick back up there, okay? So here we go. I have about 50 minutes. Look then upon this picture, and upon this I bring before you the master villain this evening. The master villain. Correlate that with Jeremiah 8. Verse 8, that group of scribes who have been responsible for creating religion, using the book of the law, natural law, and then remixing it into religion. Okay? These are the master villains. These are the master grammarians. Okay? These are the lawyers. The Templars. These are those people who are or who have been entrusted by the secret societies with time. And time, as you learn, is justice. 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. Okay? The summer solstice. The maximum number of daylight hours of the whole year. June 21. Okay? June 21. And at the equators, there's 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. So that's equity, right? Justice and fairness. Right? Everybody see it? And Christ, now here's something, y'all, to think about. When you start to learn about astrotheology, one of the concepts that you'll come across is that Christ teaching the elders or arguing with the elders in the temple when he was 12 years old. You'll find that that's talking about the sun at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is at its highest point in the sky on planet Earth at 12 noon. That's Christ's teaching in the temple. Well, it might be, but it also might be Christ at the summer solstice, because the summer solstice, the sun sun has the title Christ, and it is the highest declination to the north that the sun goes. That means it's the highest altitude in the northern part of space that the sun will go to. So that's also the zenith. Y'all, everybody get it? Everybody get it? Now, there is an excess number of daylight hours. So when there's light, you can see everything. You know everything. Clear? You know everything. Such that if you know everything and you're in your higher self, aren't you going to be living according to the instructions of our ancient foremothers and forefathers? The 5 principles: love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. Isn't that the case? Even more so at the summer solstice. So is Christ teaching in the temple the sun at the summer solstice? Well, I leave that for y'all to think about. Okay? I leave it for you to think about. Or is it the sun at 12 o'clock noon every day? Or is it both? All right? You have to use your intelligent brain and figure it out for yourself. Now let's continue. You have heard and have, I guess, often read for yourselves the parable of the unrighteous judge. The question is such an exhibition of character by that judge, by that magistrate, by that non-Article 3 black robe wearing person? They are magicians, right? They're magicians. Worshippers of Zoroaster, the Dark Prince. Okay, so we're dealing with ancient black Babylonian magic, y'all, which is the pen which causes you to see things that are not there, which causes you to react to things that only exist in your imagination. Magic. Okay? Magic. What's the mechanism? Language, connotative linguistics, and tragedy stories. Okay? In other words, the Gospels, which is, in effect, maritime admiralty, Catholic, Christian, corporate canon law. Okay, y'all? That's the mechanism. Anyway, let's continue. Oh, man. I don't know if y'all can hear these dogs barking in the cars, and there's a car detailing place across the street where I'm sitting on the courtyard. It's the same place I sat in the other video, but some people are over there smoking, so I had to move to the other end of the courtyard. And this side is not good. I don't know if y'all can hear the noise, but it's a total distraction for me. But I'll do the best I can. All right. The question is such an exhibition of character or such a moral lesson, whatever the morality of it be, to come at one ear and go out the other, and so no harm done? In other words, is this parable harmless? Or is this parable harmful, causing injury? Well, let's see what the author has to say. We're talking about the morality of it, right? When you live this parable, does it harm you or not? That's the question. Or shall we be rational? Shall words have meaning to them? Well, absolutely. Absolutely. What did he just say? He says, should we be rational? That means, should we use our reasoning, intelligent mind? Should we deal with reality? Reality are those things that you can only experience with your senses. Okay, this is the concrete Ibaryath paradigm. You can learn more about that in the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, okay, y'all? The link is in the description area of the video. Or shall words have no meaning? That's connotative linguistics. Everybody see that? That's a violation of the natural laws of linguistics. See, the denotative or the etymological meaning, the original meanings of words, that's what they mean. So to change them and have them have a common meaning, a meaning in a profession, whatever that profession might be it law or something else. But in either case, they're both different than the original meaning of the word. So that's taking us into social engineering, right? Creating a paradigm for people to operate in. In other words, catching people in a net through words, through linguistics. Y'all see it? Through linguistics. Let's continue. Or shall we be rational? Shall words have meaning to them? And shall we look at the picture which our priests have set before us in its own ugly face? In other words, the author is saying, look at it for what it is. No matter how ugly it is, look at it for what it is, not for what you want it to be, not for what you have been indoctrinated or taught it to be. See it for what it is based upon the words on the paper. That would exclude all of the precepting out, precept this out and precept that out. It excludes it. Okay, it excludes that. The words in the document have to stand on their own. All right? And we apply the etymological meanings to words, not the connotative meanings to words. Okay? Otherwise, as the author said, you're not being rational, you're not being sensible. Okay? Now let's continue. By your patience I will do so, and shall lead your convictions first to its critical, second to its moral, and lastly to its political aspects. Y'all got that? All of that is social engineering using connotative linguistics. All right? But he's asking you to be patient. To be patient. Now, how does that kick in? Well, because of cognitive dissonance, because of YouTube shorts, many people have a 10-second attention span. Many people undergo cognitive dissonance. They get angry, afraid, and they run. Or they want to argue. So he's saying be patient. And let him present the evidence, not to appeal to your stupidity, meaning your naivete, your willingness to believe almost anything, your refusal to acknowledge the weight, the value, the merit of etymology, the etymological meaning of words. A lot of people just say, well, I don't care what it says. The word, this is how we use the word today. Okay, which is foolishness. That's why he talks about, are we to be rational? All right, so when people talk like that, in other words, they're saying, I want to hold on to this doctrine regardless of whether or not it is true or whether or not it is a vestige of bondage. Whether or not it puts them or keeps them in bondage, a lot of people want to be there. Okay, now let's continue. By your patience I will do so, and I shall lead your convictions first to its critical. So the critical is talking about what? The evidence, the facts, the astronomy, the literal meaning, the grammar rules, etc. The history, secular and mythological history. And he says second to its moral. So the moral and the ethical is the remix of natural phenomena. He's going to show it. All right, when he shows it, he calls it a solution. And lastly, to its political aspects. All right, so manipulate language to achieve political goals and ends. First, we're on page 115. First, of the critical view on it. But hold, of criticism, I would not recommend all good Christians to be innocent. For the faculty of criticism is fatal to Christianity. Y'all, criticism is analysis. Criticism is asking questions and answering questions truthfully and then accepting the answers to those questions based upon the evidence and the facts. All right? The gospel will bear anything else, but it will not bear to be criticized. The moment you begin to criticize, it's farewell to faith. In other words, the moment you begin to apply etymology, astronomy, astrology, / astrotheology, and history, the truth comes out. You see the origin of it. You see the solution or its moral remix. And then it's almost impossible to ignorantly have faith in these things anymore, because now you see the truth, and the truth will set you free. Y'all see that? It's not a true religious doctrine that will set you free, because that doesn't exist. All religious doctrine, all religions, where you're worshiping an external deity, it's all a scam, a sham. All the Abrahamic religions are a sham. They are a remix of natural phenomena. And they impose on the followers a moral code and ethical system, which has its origin in natural phenomena being remixed. All right, being remixed. Just like when we were younger in the 80s and 90s. Y'all remember how they were remixing all the music from the 60s and 70s? They still do mixtapes. Same concept, same concept. Let's continue. There is no knowing where it will lead you to, for only see now what helter-skelter comes on it, the moment you take up the bosom of criticism. Now remember, criticism is a consideration of the astrotheology, which is the astronomy, and the worship of an external God. It is the etymology and the philology, and it's the history, secular and mythology. Those are the three gospel busters. That's the proper way to look at the Gospels or any so-called holy book to actually see what it means. All right? To actually see, to reveal its true meaning. Clear? All right. So the author is making the strong assertion that the Gospels will not stand up under criticism. And that's not talking smack, but that's under scholastic analysis. It will not stand. Let's see if he makes his point. See if he can prove it. Next paragraph, quote, "And he spake a parable to them." And he spake a parable to them. Avast cries criticism. Who spake? To whom? Okay, that's a very good question, right? Who spake to whom? Where, when, why, and how? What the devil is a parable. Now that's an excellent point. These are all excellent points. In fact, with my students, I'm constantly drilling in their heads the importance and the usefulness, the utility of always asking the magic questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. No matter what you're doing, those questions will open your eyes. All right? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who spake to whom? Where were they? Now, where, not a general place, not like they were on the mountain of Gethsemane or whatever. No, specifically where? When? Specifically when? What year? During whose reign? Or however. What's the specific date? And then how? Did they speak face to face? Was it letters? Etc. And what the devil is a parable. Now that's excellent, because in religion you have been taught that a parable is something that it is actually not. Okay? Wait until you see how they have misled you. When I say they, I'm talking about any religious leader who has told you this. When you hear it, I'm sure you're going to recognize it. Now let's continue. Quote unquote, a parable to this end that men ought to always pray and not to faint. Well, how about that? A parable to this end that men ought to always pray. You need to always be asking an external deity to do something for you. The fact of the matter is that you can do it for yourself. You need to always be looking for somebody else to save you. That's the mental conditioning. Y'all see how disempowering that is? That's like, let's say a little baby, let's say 6 months old, 1 year old, 1.5 year old too, never crawled, never walked on his own. Always has somebody helping him. Does that make the baby stronger or weaker? Absolutely makes the child weaker. Right? It's just like with your glands. If you take certain hormones, then your gland will actually stop functioning. It will start to atrophy. Of course, you're going to get sick, right? Because your gland is not working. There's no need for it to work. Empress Roro, Amani, Shalawama, Shalawama to you too, and Islam to all of the Moors. Good to see you, Roro. Everybody here? All right. Now let's continue. And what's the use of always praying? That's an excellent question. And what's to make men faint when they leave off praying? That's another excellent question. Now, honestly, how many of you in the audience have ever asked these questions? Although you've been a Christian or a Hebrew Israelite for 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, and yet you've never asked these questions. Okay, y'all? Which means you've never thought critically about the information. And see, I understand that. Our people are more concerned with trying to understand the doctrine as opposed to trying to understand whether or not this stuff makes sense in the first place. All right. Empress Roro writes, good to see you too. What page are you on? Page 115, Empress Roro. This place is very beautiful. I may, if I have time, I'll turn the camera around for you guys so you can see it. It's like a local attraction. The people come here and they take pictures because it's actually quite beautiful here. All right. That's a heck of a good question. Why do I always need to pray? What's the use of that? What am I going to get out of that? What is it going to deliver me? Always praying to an external deity to do something for me. And what's to make men faint when they leave off or when they stop praying? Why would you become faint? Y'all know faint. Your blood pressure might get low. You feel dizzy. You fall out, bump your head. All right and straightforward enough. You see, while you sit in the booby hutch at church or chapel and never dream of asking yourself or anybody else what it means, but discovering to the startled attention of the critical mind, the frightful truth. Wow, how about that? The frightful truth that a parable to such an end as that men ought always to pray and not to faint could be no possibility, let me repeat that, could by no possibility have been delivered. Either by God, either by Zeus, either by Sirius, the Canine stars, either by Odin, etc., or man. It cannot be delivered. It is impossible according to the author. Why? Before that end was an end which priestcraft had to serve, and that notion of everlasting praying was in full vogue, was in full fashion among men, which determines the period of darkness, which determines the period of the darkest day of the dark ages. Which determines the period of the darkest day of the dark ages. And of all the full swing of popish superstition of quote-unquote monks and hermits, Coenobites and friars, black friars and gray, and all their trumpery. Let's continue, okay? I want to get to what I want to get to his point. Page 116. Neither could it have been delivered or devised before the times of the general prevalence of that most wicked notion of election and reprobation, since its whole argument is the argument a fortiori, which is that God would avenge his own elect. That's the point. God would avenge his own elect, and that without any consideration of justice of their cause, that's the elect's cause, whether what they did is right or wrong. In nature, the deity, God, Zeus, will avenge them, okay? That God would avenge his own elect. The Hebrew Israelites say that they're the elect, and that without any consideration of the justice of their cause, but merely because they were his elect. Y'all got that? Think about that. They're not interested in justice. Does that sound familiar, y'all? They're not interested in justice. Does it sound familiar? Isn't that what we see in the corporate policy jurisdiction venues that they call courts? Are they concerned with justice? Absolutely not. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at bills of attainder. Bills of attainder. They just run over you. Everybody see it? That God would avenge his own elect. Who are the elect? Let's say nowadays, these would be the secret society members. See, these are the ones who get saved, so God will save them. How is he going to save them? He's going to avenge them, whether they're right or wrong. Y'all got it? And it's you, the common man and woman who are on the outside of the house, who are going to get the beat down by the deity. Y'all see it? The deity is there to protect and save the secret society member. Doesn't care if you did anything wrong. Doesn't care about justice. Christ said that himself when he explained why he always spoke in parables. He said, because if I told them, they would have a chance to repent. And having repented, they could be saved. Right? So you can't come out of the curses until you return to the Most High. So as long as you're in the curses, you're goyim. Anybody can do to you whatever they want to do because you disrespect your ancient foremothers and your ancient forefathers, which means you disrespect the Most High's commandments. Therefore, you get curses, punishments. You curse yourself. Everybody see it? So that's why you're held in a civilly dead corporate state, so that you can curse yourself, and those who are in the secret societies can be saved. And because you're consenting to it, you're just as much at fault as they are, especially once you know about it. The ignorance of the law is no excuse. Y'all see it? And you reduce their karmic debt because you're consenting to it. And how are you consenting to it? Because you don't understand the language, you don't understand the vocabulary, right? The etymology of these words and their lawful meaning. Most of us, we only know the common meaning or the connotative meaning of the words. Okay, y'all? And they did that to us on purpose. That's why they say anything you say can and will be used against you. Right? They mean it. And we all have seen it. Right? That's no secret. And why is that? Because the other issue that we're dealing with, due process of law. Okay, so by denying you justice, they're denying you due process of law. Everybody see it? I hope everyone can see it. The Constitution for the United States of North America, our ancestors provided for us the obligation for those in power to respect due process of law. But this deity, this Christian deity, has no respect for justice, has no respect for due process of law. What are we talking about, y'all? We're talking about fofers, feudalism, maritime admiralty law brought on the land. Let's continue. That God would avenge his own elect. The elect today are the secret, in reality, are the secret society members. And that without any consideration of justice of their cause, okay, they can rob, steal, and kill. Okay, I'm from Japan. Shalom and welcome from Japan. Okay? All right, now let's continue. Without any consideration of the justice of their cause, they're out here stealing people's estate, doing all kind of unlawful stuff. And they get away with it. Why? Because the secret society members protect each other. The whole system is set up on fraud. All right, and they're all involved in fraud. And when you roll up in there to buy, you think you're buying a house, you think you're paying utility bills, everything that you think you're doing, Dorothy, is not what you think it is. You are in the land of Oz. Okay, literally. Okay. So without any consideration of justice for their cause, but merely because they were his elect. Okay, that's why Christ didn't tell you the parables. Okay? Because who would the elect, who would the secret society members have to rob and steal from? Who would they have to live off of? Nobody. As our judges of the present day, whose characters are bound. Now, remember, these sermons were given in London at the Rotunda on Blackfriars Street. Okay, so that's a disrespect to the Moors. Blackfriars, Blackamoors. So what was happening in the Middle Ages? In Europe, it was feudalism, y'all. Feudalism. Everybody see it? As our judges of the present day, that's 1830, that was feudalism, whose characters are bound by these evangelical examples, would convict an infidel, not because they had any evidence of guilt against him, not because they had any argument to show that he wasn't as good-hearted a man as ever breathed, but merely because he was an infidel. In other words, you're not a Catholic, you're not a Christian, off with your head. Then justice is not an issue. Okay? You're not following the Catholic doctrine, or you're out here talking about nature, natural phenomena. You're out here talking about that? Off with the head. No consideration of justice. Y'all see it? Everybody see the correlation between public policy and acts, state statutes, city codes? No respect for nature, therefore no respect for law. Hello, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? Okay, y'all? Now let's continue. The infidel lamb that should be accused of making the stream run backward would be sure to be found guilty where the Christian wolf did try him. O Christian justice, how dost thou shine forth? Now y'all think about the Judeo-Christian legal system. Is it just, y'all? Y'all in North America? Is it just? Think about it. Be honest with yourself. Is it just? Are they operating off of a hidden feudal principle or set of principles? Absolutely. When the proprietor of the other shop gives verdict against ours, when the sworn knave that has the letting of the booby hutches in his own chapel finds the rotunda guilty, 'tis Christian justice. In other words, what he's talking about is that the Christian church came after him using the banks and the courts. They trumped up charges against him and locked him up twice. Ultimately, he fled out beyond the UK, Britain, Byton. He fled and went to France, where he expired not too long after. Okay? So this is what he's saying. Now, in astrotheological terms, it means this. Well, astrotheology, it means this. Of course, Christ is the light, right? Christ is the way, the truth, and the light. Some people say the light. It can be translated light and light. Y'all check it out. I'm the way, the truth, and the light. Anybody who want to come to the Father has to come through me. So what is this telling us? Well, when you act like the Christ, what are people going to do to you? When you come in there and you shine that bright light on them, and they start to see that everything that they base their life on is a lie. All right? Everything that they base their life on is a lie. Meaning that all the time they invested in their church, all the energy they invested in their church, all the fiat, all the preaching and teaching and evangelistic whatever that they did, it's all a lie. And when you hit them with that bright light, and I don't mean you hit them, but just by your presence and your talking, well, a lot of them can't deal with it. Okay? And they will get mad at you. Because in their lives, they're Christians. Crooks, criminals, deceitful people, using the scriptures to harm people. Y'all know how it goes. And when they see you, well, they don't like you. They don't like you because you make them feel some kind of way that they don't like. Y'all see what I'm saying? No different than if you took a nap, you fell asleep. Let's say you fell asleep, you woke up in the morning. The bright sun hit your eyes. Wake you up, right? Kind of give you a headache. You don't feel so well, right? Well, it's the same. It's the same thing here. All right, y'all? It ain't no different. It ain't no different. Hold on. And what will most Christians usually tell you? They'll tell you, well, you don't understand because you don't have the Spirit. As if they're the ones to say who has the Spirit and who doesn't. You could just say the same thing to them and who's right and who's wrong. Right? A further indication of time is betrayed to us in that awkward drop stitch, quote unquote. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith upon the earth? In admission as clear as day that whoever the Son of Man was, he was not then upon the earth. Wow, y'all got that? When the Son of Man comes, Now see, we assume that that's JC, the Son of Man, being present on earth. But that's not what it says literally. See, when the Son of Man comes, meaning he's not there. Okay? But we imagine that that's talking about JC on the earth at that time. All right? But it's not what it says. That's not what the words say. Okay? An admission as clear as day that whoever the Son of Man was, he was not then upon the earth, and that consequently the speaker in the text could not be he. How can I say when I come and I'm already here? See, I'm already here. Y'all see it? Let me say it again. How can I say when I come when I'm already here? So if I say when the Son of Man comes, I'm not talking about me because I'm already here. Right? Everybody see that? Then who the devil was or is the Son of Man? None of your clergy in church or chapel can tell you. I can. They don't know him. I do. I have seen him myself. I know him very well and all his family, and I can show him you. Wow. Okay? And in doing this, I haven't to beseech you to see with the eye of faith. In other words, he doesn't have to make you believe. You don't have to imagine. You don't have to see it with your eye of faith. To look to the things which are invisible. I have no occasion to draw upon your credulity. He's not going to draw on your naivety. Okay? He's not going to draw on you being easy to believe anything, on your stupidity. Okay? Blind trust. That's not what he's going to appeal to. He continues, and to entreat you to believe me, as my dear hearers, lest of all to stultify you out of the exercise of your reason. Y'all hear that? So you're not going to do any of that, because stultify meaning stealthily trick you to turn off or stop or not to think critically. Okay? All right, y'all? That's what religion. Okay, religion wants you to believe. See it with your eyes of faith. Okay? Feel it. The author is saying he's not going to do it now. Of course, we're going to hold him to it, right? He continues. He says, lest of all to stultify you out of the exercise of your reason with that villainous denunciation, quote unquote, he that believeth not shall be damned. Well, damn. He that believeth not shall be damned. So, okay, now if I don't believe, I'm going to be damned, which means I'm going to burn in hell, or I'm going to not be resurrected. I'm going to be dead forever. I'm going to burn in hell, be tortured forever. If I don't believe. So you turn off your reasoning mind. You stop using your analytical mind. Why? Because you're scared. Okay, y'all? You're scared. You must turn off your reasoning, analytical mind in order to be a Christian. We see the quote right here. He that does not believe it shall be damned. Now you tell me, how is that not telling you not to think critically? Be men and exercise your rational faculties as men. Yeah, well, you know what? If you believe God gave you everything, why would he give you a rational mind and then expect you not to use it when it comes to him? Give me no credit at all. Think that I am deceiving you. As long as you can think so, withhold your conviction. In other words, don't make a decision to the last struggle, that with reason it can be withheld, and it shall be mine at last by right of conquest. What is he saying? He's saying, listen to the entire body of evidence before you make a decision. If you listen to everything, consider everything, all of the evidence, the etymology, the philology, the astronomy, astrology, astrotheology, and the history, what he's saying here is that you will believe what he's telling you, not blindly because you see the evidence, so you will know. As thus, sirs, where isn't that the Son of Man is the showing of the text itself was to be seen. I have to read that again, y'all. As thus, sirs, where is it that this Son of Man in the showing of the text itself was to be seen, quote unquote, coming in the clouds of heaven? Yeah, the Son of Man is supposed to come in the clouds of the heavens. Then in the name of God, in the name of Zeus, where else should we look for him but in the clouds of the heaven? And when he is due to be seen coming, and when is he due to be seen coming in the clouds of heaven? Immediately after the days have been shortened. So y'all should already know that that's what? The winter solstice. Let me see what time it is. That's the winter solstice. I gotta bounce, y'all. I'll be back to finish this up. I gotta go. I have an appointment. Islam and Shalom.